Are there any statements? Call the member for Kooyong.
Thank you, Mr Acting Deputy Speaker. This year it is 50 years since Australians were first involved in the Vietnam War, a war in which nearly 60,000 Australians served, of whom 521 lost their lives and 3,000 were wounded. Whatever one thinks of the merits of the Vietnam conflict, it was a horrific war with huge casualties. Over 2 million people were killed, 3.6 million people were wounded, and our staunch ally, the Americans, saw 304,000 of its personnel injured and 58,169 killed, of whom a remarkable 11,465 were just teenagers. Mr Deputy Speaker, today we commemorate the 46th anniversary of Long Tan, when, on the 18th of August 1966, 108 diggers took on nearly 2,500 North Vietnamese regulars and Viet Cong in the rubber plantations of Long Tan. 18 of our men lost their lives, with many more injured. For those in the Delta Company 6 RAR, it was a day of heroism and sacrifice, and that day has stood as a monument to the courage and resolve of Australians in uniform. Against the odds, the Australians stood up and won. Mr Deputy Speaker, born in the 1970s, early 1970s, I am too young to remember the controversy of the Vietnam War, but I have heard many a time about the political differences created by Australia's deployment. What is more, I have learnt about the difficult reception many of our Vietnam veterans have received on their return home. Whatever one's belief about whether or not the deployment was right to start with, we should always embrace our soldiers who are in the field in a bipartisan way. Those men and women in uniform are putting their lives on the line to defend our nation, our interests and our values. Mr Deputy Speaker, I hope we never see another period when Australian servicemen and women depart for the battlefield and return back to the family home without the full support of our political and civic leaders. To all those men and women who served in Vietnam, and to those 108 brave Australians who fought at Long Tan against the odds and won, today we say, lest we forget.